Quaid Azam, Part 359. It was an internal matter, entirely India's choice, solely of those that lived here, of whatever faith, belief, or persuasion they opted for. Not so after declaration of the empire, for we then became the subjects living in a subject territory. This particular humiliation, for there were the others too, lasted just under 100 years, 1857 to 1947. However, sadly, our fate post 1947 also did not remain entirely ours to determine. Solely by ourselves, it became a subject to the consequences of so many factors, most of which were in turn the residual detritus of India's subjugation by European thought, language, power, and principally British. Yes, the British did leave India and left behind many legacies that benefit, but also left behind many great divides too. An Anglophile leadership that further deepened these divides, turning them into yawning chasms. While leaving the British fractured our freedom, but we went beyond, denying our citizens the essence of it. Gandhi understood this well, and the many paradoxes, contradictions that came with 1947, where he knew the essence of India. Though exposed to education in the West, Gandhi's instinct, his roots, his groundings, his responses always remained entirely Indian. Unfortunately, not so in the case of Jinnah or Nehru. They were both so totally imbued with the colors and the teachings of the West that in their thinking they were and remained totally English. All through their respective political lives, they remained English. Both thought in terms of carving out successors states, the state of India and the state of Pakistan, were entirely in the European sense of phrase, centralized, defined territorial units inheriting all the Occidental clutters, or Azroth's modernity. This was damaging, perhaps more, it was destructive in many ways. The most telling and significant being Jinnah's call of Muslims are a separate nation. From this notion, buttressed by imperial aims, finally emerged Pakistan. Even if moth-eaten, but Pakistan emerged. And that is also why a post-1947 residual India began to look both conceptually questionable and even incomplete, an aspect which in reality is the post-independence challenge, but which India has not yet responded to convincingly. Indeed, shies away from it. Why? Because acceptance of the partition on grounds of faith, particularly when there is demanded on grounds of Muslims being a separate nation, spawns such vast schools, vast shoals of the ravenous political piranha as to totally eliminate all reasons from our midst for one such an assertion, though an entirely illogical, is fundamentally of an insatiable nature. It will always remain so forever, as it never can be quenched, being born of a peculiar Indian phenomenon, minoritism. Endlessly it will continue to give birth to more destructive minoritism, being politically contagious for Pakistan. For Pakistan is a doubtless Muslim, but theo-eccentrically, it is not a theocratic state. Indeed, there is no such state other perhaps than the Vatican, But then who, other than Gandhi and a few others, was to advise caution as we rushed headlong and unheeding down this destructive path?